In the heart of ancient Achala Kingdom, where the people lived in harmony with the land, life was simple. The men wrestled under the great Okadike tree, the women fetched water from Ogere River, and the elders sat under the moonlight, telling folk tales about spirits, gods, and the foolish men who dared to challenge destiny. But none of their tales could have prepared them for what was about to happen. One starless night, while the villagers snored in their bamboo huts, a blinding light cut through the sky like a jealous god splitting the heavens in anger. It wasn't a shooting star, nor was it the gods coming down to settle village quarrel. It was a massive alien spaceship. Silent and swift, it zoomed past the sleeping village and disappeared into the dense Obonike forest, settling deep within the shadows where no hunters dared to venture at night. But fate has a funny way of playing tricks, because by the next nightfall, the first human to stumble upon this strange arrival was not a great warrior, nor the king, not even the chief priest. It was Ukamaka, one of the most stubborn and sharp-tongued maiden in the whole of Achala Kingdom. Ukamaka had problems, big problems. Her parents had decided that at the age of 20, she was more than ripe enough to marry Pa Odogu, the oldest, richest, and most toothless man in Achala, a man whose breath alone could send mosquitoes into early retirement. "Over my dead body," Ukamaka screamed. And so, before the first cock and crow, she had tied her wrapper, grabbed a small calabash of food and water, and ran into the forest, the only place where her parents wouldn't find her and drag her back by the ear. But as she stormed through the thick bushes, she suddenly froze. Before her, standing like gods of the underworld, were three tall, green-skinned beings. Ukamaka observed their chiseled faces, eyes that glowed faintly, and were dressed in outfits that looked like juju priest uniform, mixed with the attire of spirits in masquerade festivals. But more than that, despite their green skin, they were fine to look at, not fine like the village men who only know how to drink palm wine and argue about wrestling. These ones looked like sculpted deities. Ukamaka's first instinct was to scream, but before she could, one of them stepped forward and raised his hand, speaking in a voice smoother than honey she used to steal from the village beehives. "Ndewo," he said. Ukamaka blinked. Wow, they spoke Igbo, she thought to herself. Then she said, "Who are you? Who are you people?" The one who spoke introduced himself as Zyron. "We are from a distant kingdom beyond the stars. We have come in peace, searching for rare minerals to power our great vessel in the sky." Ukamaka eyed them suspiciously. "You mean you people came all the way from heaven to come and dig sand?" "It is not sand," Zyron explained patiently, "but an element you humans have not yet discovered the use. It helps us travel through space and time." "How is it you speak my language?" Ukamaka asked. "I don't actually speak your language," Zyron replied. "But with the help of our alien advanced language decoder, I can speak any language in the universe." The other two aliens, Zyrok and Zyra, watched quietly. Zyra was the only female among them, and her beauty was so striking that if the village men saw her, they would instantly forget their wives. But Ukamaka wasn't focused on her. Her eyes had locked onto Zyron, the alien that had been having conversation with her. He had the deepest dimple and a beautiful, kind smile she had ever seen in her life. And that was how the love story of a village girl and a green-skinned space traveler began. Over the next few nights, Ukamaka kept sneaking back to the forest. She brought them food, roasted yam, palm wine, and of course, Achala's famous spicy pepper soup. Zyron, in return, told her stories about galaxies, planets, and a place called Aterion 9, where trees glowed at night and rivers ran with silver water. They talked, they laughed, and slowly they fell in love. One night, under the full moon, Zyron took her hand, and he said, "Ukamaka, in my kingdom, love is sacred. but it is also forbidden between our kind and humans. Ukamaka smiled, tracing a finger on his green skin, and she replied, "Then let's not tell anybody." And before she could overthink it, she kissed him. The moment their lips met, a soft golden glow flickered around them, as if the universe itself was witnessing and blessing their union. In every love story comes challenges. One fateful night, the village drunk, Obuago, stumbled into the forest in search of his lost goat. What he saw made him sober immediately. Aliens mining in Achala sacred land. By morning, the entire village was in uproar as Obuago told the villagers what he saw. The king called an emergency meeting. The warriors grabbed their spears and the medicine men started chanting incantations. "These strangers must be captured," the chief priest shouted. "They are either spirits, demons, or foreign gods trying to take our land." And so, a mob of angry villagers, armed with machetes, hoes, and even cooking pots, marched to the forest, ready to fight anything that was not human. But Ukamaka had other plans. The air in Achala was thick with tension. News of the strange green spirits in the forest had spread like wildfire, and the entire village was buzzing with excitement, fear, and confusion. The king sat on his stool, stroking his long white beard, while the elders debated the best way to handle the situation. "They are either gods or demons," said Elder Obi, the oldest elder with wrinkles that had wrinkles. "If they are gods, we must appease them. If they are demons, we must chase them away before they put a curse on our daughters," shouted Ozonaji, slamming his walking stick on the ground. "What if they are just strangers?" asked young Dike, the only elder who still had all his teeth. "Strangers do not have green skin and eyes that glow like fireflies," Obuagu, the village drunk, interrupted, still shivering from his encounter that night. "And I swear on my last keg of palm wine, I saw our Ukamaka kissing one of them." The crowd gasped in shock. "Our own Ukamaka," the women cried, clutching their wrappers. "This girl has finally disgraced us." The king raised his staff. "Enough! We must see these beings with our own eyes. Warriors, prepare. We march to the forest by nightfall." Ukamaka had already known that the village were planning an attack. Zyron and his crew had detected the villagers' movement using their advanced technology. "Your people are coming," Zyron said, his voice laced with worry, "and they are not coming in peace." Ukamaka's heart pounded. "They will not understand," she said. "They will see you as evil spirits. You have to leave before they get here." Zyron looked at her, then at Zyrok and Zyra, who were already preparing their mining equipment for transport. "Our ship is still recharging. We need a few more hours." "You don't have few hours," she snapped. "You have minutes." Zyron held her hand. "Ukamaka, will you come with me?" Her heart skipped. "What?" she asked. "To my world. To my planet. You don't belong here. They want to force you into a life you don't want. Come with me." Ukamaka's legs felt weak. She looked at Zyron, at the glowing green eyes, at his perfectly chiseled face. He was offering her something beyond her wildest dreams. A life among the stars. A life free from forced marriage, free from village gossip. But could she leave behind everything she knew? Before she could answer, a war cry shattered the moment. "Ha! The spirits are here! Surround them!" Ozonnaji yelled as the villagers stormed the forest with torches, machetes, and even pestles meant for pounding fufu. "Do not be afraid," the native priest encouraged the crowd. "We have charms. Their juju will not work on us." The warriors spread out, forcing a large circle around the aliens. Zyron stepped forward. "We mean no harm," he declared. "We come in peace." "Lies!" yelled Obuagu. You came to steal our land and take our women. The young Igbo men's eyes, however, were glued to Zaira, the female alien, who stood tall and graceful. If you come in peace, then why are you hiding in our sacred forest? Demanded the Igbo warriors. Zyrok and Zaira exchanged glances. Zyron sighed and replied, "We need the minerals beneath your land, but in return, we can offer you something greater, a gift." The villagers murmured in confusion. A gift? Before anyone could react, Zaira lifted her hand, and with a swift motion, a holographic projection appeared in the air. A vision of great machines floating like vehicles, endless farmlands flourishing without effort, and lights brighter than 1,000 moons. "We bring knowledge," Zaira explained. "Technology that will help your people, farming, medicine, energy. We ask only for peace, and to allow us take these minerals that we need for our big spaceship in the sky." The villagers gawked at the strange moving images in the air. "Ha! Magic!" the Dibia screamed, falling to the ground. "This is beyond my powers." The king rubbed his beard. "You say you come in peace, and you wish to leave." Zyron nodded. "Yes, but we will leave behind gifts that will advance your kingdom." The king turned to his people. "What say you? Should we accept the gifts or chase them away?" "Accept," the younger men yelled immediately, all staring at Zaira like lovesick puppies. "We must consult the gods," the Dibia countered. "Consult which gods? They have offered us good things that would help us in farming and advancement. What other confirmation from the gods do we need? Moreover, nothing bad can come from accepting a gift from a beautiful green damsel," shouted Dike, the young elder, adjusting his wrapper as he admired Zaira. After intense deliberation, and after the young men nearly started fighting over who would marry Zaira, the king finally spoke, and he said, "Let them live in peace, but they must honor their promise." Zyron bowed. "You have my word." Under the golden glow of Achala moon, Zyrok, the other male green-skinned alien with eyes like twin emeralds, stood before the wide-eyed villagers, his voice a melodic hum as he unraveled the secrets that would change their lives forever. With swift, graceful movement, he demonstrated advanced farming techniques, how to rotate crops to keep the soil fertile, how to use crushed snail shells to enrich the earth, and how to harness river reeds to create natural irrigation channel. The elders gasped as he mixed strange herbs with palm wine, revealing remedies to cure fever, strengthen bone, and even slow the aging of their bodies. But the greatest wonder came when he traced symbol on the damp earth, teaching them how to write. With this, he said, his voice rich with wisdom, "You will no longer rely on memory alone. Your knowledge will live beyond you, carried by marks on woods and stone." And so, by the flickering firelight, the people of Achala took their first step towards a new era, their hearts filled with gratitude for the strange visitors from beyond the stars. While Zyrok was impacting knowledge to the people of Achala, Ukamaka and Zyron stood a bit far off, their fingers interlocked, their eyes speaking the words their mouths could not. "I will never forget you," Ukamaka whispered, her voice trembling like a candle in the wind. Zyron smiled, but there was sadness in his glowing green eyes. "Nor will I." He traced a finger along her cheek, memorizing her warmth, her softness. "In another world, in another time," he whispered. She nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. There were no empty promises, no foolish hopes, only this moment and the ache of goodbye. She stood on her toes and kissed him, her lips pressing into his cool skin, tasting the salt of her own tears. The spaceship let out a low hum. It was time to go. Zyron pulled away, his fingers lingering before finally slipping from Ukamaka's. She stood still, watching as he ascended the spaceship, her heart shattering like clay against stone. Then, just as the villagers began to feel the weight of the bittersweet farewell, Obuago the drunk stepped forward. He approached Zaira, who was about to climb the steps of the spaceship. "My sweet water leaf, will you marry me?" he declared. "I don't mind that you are green. Love is blind. Let us build a home near the palm trees. Our children will be half earth, half vegetable." Zaira blinked, tilting her head with an amused look on her face as she asked, "Vegetable?" The villagers burst into laughter. Zaira smiled and patted his hand before turning to board the ship. As the villagers watched in awe, the aliens activated their ship, and in a blinding flash of light, they ascended into the sky. The villagers gasped, some falling to their knees in shock. Obuago took a deep breath. "I need a drink, oh." Ukamaka stood alone beneath the great Iroko tree, placed a hand on her belly, a strange warmth spreading through her. Something was different. 9 months later, she would birth a child with eyes that held the galaxy. And to this day, if you look closely into the eyes of some people, you just might find a hint of stardust, a whisper of another world. But who can say that the bloodline of the stars does not still walk among us? Some whisper that certain humans, those with eyes that hold the depth of galaxies, those who seem to move with an unearthly grace, can trace their origin to that very child. The child Ukamaka carried, the first of its kind, neither fully of the earth nor entirely of the stars. And so, through her lineage, the echoes of the night in Achala still live on. The aliens never truly left, for even now, they walk among us, hidden in plain sight.